Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. Specifically speaking, my GH fans. Now, if you read the title, you know what we're about to sit there and talk about. But first of all, I want to sit there and give a huge shout out to one of my subscribers named Shakira for sitting there bringing me this story in a sense. She shared me a video of another creator named Janice Taylor. And here's the thing. I almost feel like this is somewhat deja vu, right? It's very similar. See, I wound up doing a video maybe about a year or so back, give or take, with a similar kind of premise. The title was something along the lines of like Trina is like the most overprotective character. And the reason why I'm sitting there bringing that up is because I feel like I'm almost in a sense doing the same video, right? What essentially she does is she sits there and talks about how the character isn't working for her. Specifically, she talks about how Tabiana, as an actress, her acting isn't working for her, right? And just like my video, she wound up getting cooked in the comment section. And the reason why I bring so much, back and forth between the two is because they share one thing. I mean, share a couple of things. One thing in common. People tend to listen with their emotions, right? They tend to listen with their emotions. Now, my video, I didn't sit there and was dogging the character, talking about the character's looks or anything like that. I just basically shared my thoughts on the fact that, in my streams, and other comment sections, the minute that you bring up Trina, it's always a very touchy subject, right? And the way that people went at her, this is the reason why I'm doing this. Normally, I would sit there and save this type of video for just the members. But I feel like, in a sense, it's kind of a PSA. Because she brings up valid criticisms about her acting. And when I mean by valid criticisms, I don't necessarily mean that she's right about certain things or whatever. It just means that she's not doing it in a way where it's just disrespectful. She's laughing, she's joking at her, she's coming at her sideways or whatever. She makes it abundantly clear that it's not just about her acting. It's also about the shitty writing. And this is something, and she said this multiple times, but the only thing that some of these people actually heard, and I can, only thing that they heard was her shitting on her acting. And that wasn't necessarily the case. But she does feel that there's enough blame to go around. Specifically the whole Trina and Kai pairing, because he's not exactly the best actor out there. Now, me personally, I think that Trina is a decent actor. She's decent, right? She knows her lines, she says her lines. It is what it is. My only issue with her is the crying scenes. But if we're going to be honest, there's a character named Steve Johnson on Days. He's been acting way longer than her. His crying scenes are just awful. So I'm not coming down too hard on Tabi as far as the crying scenes, but they don't really work for me. And just bottom line is that, and she also brings up a couple of comments from other people that have talked about her acting. See, this is what I'm sitting there saying. It's not like, oh, well, she just decided to wake up one day and start hating on Tabiana, right? Like that wasn't the case. Other people have sat there and brung up this stuff. And one of the comments that she was sitting there reading was pretty interesting. And it was interesting because I've seen this in my streams when I used to first start streaming, right? One person was sitting there saying, they felt like they was afraid to talk about her acting. They were afraid to talk about her acting because they didn't want to sit there and be labeled a colorist or a racist. Let's just be very clear about something. If I've sat there and made this video, or she sat there and made this video about Eda McCoy, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It wouldn't be such a hot topic, right? Now, back when I made my video about her being overprotected, one of the things I didn't sit there and talk about was how bad the actress have gotten so much negativity thrown her way. Anywhere from racist comments to just demeaning comments and just all across the board, just treated awfully, right? So, obviously, the fans of hers and just people in general that love soaps, it's going to be kind of touchy when people sit there and talk about her and bring her up. But the thing is the way that you do it. Like, let's just be honest. Everybody from all across five of the soap operas, you can talk about their acting and stuff. Like, there's a way of talking about a person's acting or talking about the character without it being over the top, disrespectful, racist, or whatever. Because this is what we honestly do as fans. We sit there and talk about it and be like, oh, well, I thought that this character's, lines was really flat or whatever. I remember just going to Michael when Chadwick was gone, or he was on break or whatever, and they had the other guy come in. And, this is when the kiss was revealed. And, like, that scene was just so goddamn flat. It was like, it was nothing. It was nothing there. And we all sat there and saw it. We was just like, man, I was just god awful. Like, it was just bad, right? And that's what we do. So I don't think it's this horrible crime if she sits there and she makes the video talking about how she doesn't like her acting. Doesn't like her acting. She never sat there and once said that she doesn't like her as a person. She doesn't know her. I don't know her. I don't know Eden either. But if she does a scene where it's not great, I'm gonna sit there and talk about it. Because that's what we do. And it disgusts me. Okay? It absolutely disgusts me when people come at her sideways in the sense of when people come at her sideways. There was one, and I'm not gonna sit there and say this person's name, even though I really can want to, is that she comes at her sideways and she just comes at her in this really disrespectful way. And then towards the end, her comment is, go kick rocks. Let's just be very clear about something. You essentially came to her house. You came to her platform. You came to her comment section. And you're so much in your goddamn pathetic little feelings that after the end of your whole goddamn paragraph, you tell her to kick rocks. How does that work? You came to her comment section. This is a person that's so emotional, so super sensitive, that you can't tell the difference between criticism and hate or nasty comments, or whatever you want to sit there and call it. But it's just gotten to a point where it's people like them that ruin it for other people. And I've seen it in my comment section, especially in my streams and stuff like that. Somebody would sit there and talk about the character or whatever, and somebody would be like, "Oh, you're a colorist." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, they didn't sit there and say anything about their skin tone or their color or anything like that. They wasn't sitting there talking about their looks. They just basically talked about their character's credit. Not credit. It's personality. And you're sitting there calling somebody a colorist because you don't like them. If they would have sat there again, and I use Jocelyn because they're so close in age, and there's another reason I'm using Jocelyn. Obviously, they wouldn't have said that. So, I think that people need to understand there's a fine line between constructive criticism. That's it. Constructive criticism and just straight up bullying and hating and harassment and stuff like that because nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. No, I don't want that just as a content creator and as a fan who has been watching the show since high school. Now, this isn't something that she normally does, but she talks about TV shows sometimes or whatever, and she decided to make a whole video about it. And hey, listen, do I agree with everything that she said in the video? No, and that's fine. You can disagree with people. That's what the comment section is there for. Hell, we generally kind of like that stuff. We like when sometimes people, when people disagree in a respectful way because then we'll learn something. I'll be like, okay, what? I didn't learn. I didn't. That's an interesting point. I didn't look at it that way. When you come in a comment section, you start getting all nasty and in your feelings because somebody's talking about a fictional character. That's where it's like, that's what makes the fandom so bad. And it gets to a point, I mean, granted, we're not there at, well, Star Wars level kind of fandom, but looking at her comment section, and some of y'all people are getting close. Like y'all need to go outside and touch some grass, get some therapy, get a man or a woman or something because that shit is definitely unhealthy. People like that makes it unfun for other people. There's a better word I can use, but it's a long day. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Again, normally I do these type of videos for members only, but I felt like after people came at her sideways, which by the way, definitely check her out. She doesn't normally do soap opera content stuff as far as I know. She mostly does like life stuff and updates and vlogs and whatever else. But I am going to leave the video in the description box below. I'm also actually going to sit there and leave it in the pinned comment. There's two places you can definitely sit there and check out the video, and give your thoughts. Now, when I sit there and say give your thoughts, I don't mean go there and act like an absolute basura, an asshole, or whatever you want to sit there and call it. But listen, if you disagree with her, fine. Listen, we all like to sit there and learn something. That's the only way I've gotten better over the years in some aspects of me doing this, And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.